What?
That's what I want to hear. Welcome back, everybody. First things first, big news. R.I.P. to the man, Kentaro Miura. He passed away on the 6th, and we got the news on Thursday that it was like some kind of heart condition, something with the tissue in the valves or something.
Acute aortic dissection.
And yeah, sadly, he has passed away.
It's not more fitting though to like just leave Berserk as it is now. I mean, like, yeah, I'm kind of happy the way Berserk is like now, because I feel like it's gotten to the point where it's like, all right, Guts, do you want to keep this grudge going? You got Casca back.
Right. I feel like this is such a pivotal moment in Berserk because we've gone so far, and now we have Casca back, and now he has the lore of the armor. If he continues this bloodthirsty rage of vengeance, he's going to end up like the Skull Knight, you know, and he's going to lose everything.
That's definitely what they were leading up to, I believe.
And this is the decision he has to make, and it's really unfortunate. R.I.P. You know, but I think this is just me personally, and I could probably get a lot of shade for this, but me personally, if we never got anything else from Berserk and it ended right here, I'm fine. I'm perfectly fine. I mean, there's a part of me that's like really angry, but at the same time, I'm just that kind of person where if the creator's gone, and if there wasn't anybody who was like his apprentice, like who knew the story exactly, you know, like verbatim, I don't want it. I personally don't want it. I would rather just hear it from the horse's mouth, you know. And that's I said this offline the other day when this whole thing happened. I said this to Julie, and I was like, dude, that's my biggest worry for the mangaka for D. Gray Man. You know, if she goes out of commission, I don't know if there's anybody else to go and keep that up.
From what I heard, there is a storyboard up because, you know, they've been working on the new chapter. For a long time, I always thought, the reason why we only get 3-ish chapters a year is because the insane detail he puts into Berserk, and that he's been doing this for over 30 years. He was 54. So it's like, yeah, it's time consuming, you know, and it's, you know, he's not getting any younger. So to me, that made sense. And also, like, you know, he's also doing other manga. Like, the next chapter he was going to publish was for a new series he was working on. And I'm kind of on the same boat. Like, if they want, they could finish the next chapter since they've already been working on it. And, of course, you know, every manga has an assistant. So I'm sure the artwork wouldn't look too different, because there's a rumor or something going around that, like, maybe that's the reason why the art style is so different from before, is because this is closer to what the main editor can draw or something.
Well, you have to remember too, he had to make there was that article that Julian posted in our chat, and he had to make the transition from paper to digital. So that was time consuming for him to, you know, do that whole thing as well, because if we look at the entire scope of the island, that's a lot of detail for digital work. I mean, I'm no artist by any means. I can barely draw anything. And to just look at what this guy is putting out there, that's a godsend to me. That's a lot of time. That's a lot of work. That's definitely more than 40 hours a week, 100%.
Oh, yeah. I mean, one of his last interviews, or just, you know, going through his interviews throughout the years, you know, we've mentioned it here and there. You really hate to hear and see it, but the life of a mangaka is not the best. He barely got any time off. He worked month to month without any breaks, to the point where it was like one day off in between like 3 months. And it's pretty crazy, you know, the amount of dedication that they want to do. And even him having some self-doubt about like, wow, like time has flown by so much and all I've done is manga. You know, that's the thing they touch in Bakuman, which is very real. You know, I mean, look at Oda himself. He's been taking so many breaks over the past few years because of how intense it is. I mean, look, SIU.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say, dude. Look at SIU. He never took a break in the 11 years Tower has been on up until last year. So you got to figure this guy has been working diligently on Tower for 10 years with no break, you know. And now it came to the point where his doctor's like, dude, you got to stop. Like, you have to stop for yourself if you want to continue. And I love it. I love whenever a mangaka has that dedication to it, but at the same time, it's like, hey man, you do have to take care of yourself. You do have to do what you got to do, and I know it's tough, and I know that there's a discourse between some fans that are like, no, I want the content, versus the fans that, actually understand. It's like, no, dude, you need that time to recover. The content will be there. Hopefully you're not going anywhere. I say hopefully because of what happened with Kentaro Miura, but I just can only hope that, and it probably isn't going to happen. This is just total wishful thinking. That there can be more breaks, right, for these mangakas. That they can have a little bit more time in between. Like a week off, from One Piece whenever we get it from Oda, I'm like, that's fine. You gave us a good piece to kind of write off of and like theorize off of and spitball. That's great. I'll take that. I'll wait a week.
I like the breaks. To me, it gives me anticipation for what's to come. Like, I'm the type of reader
100%
where I prefer to take breaks myself in between all the manga that I'm reading, just to give myself time to allow them to build up. Like, I love just like continuously going through chapter per chapter. It's like one of the hypest things that basically enthrall you as a reader to really delve into that world and like just see like, one-on-one, like what's going on, what's new with your heroes in the latest chapter. It makes it all that more personal for me, honestly.
Yeah, I did that for One Piece for the last 3 years. I would wait 2-3 chapters and then I'd go and read them because I wanted a whole experience, right? I wanted to have a couple chapters to go off of, and then I'm like, okay, I can wait a little bit. I did the same thing for Degrey Man up until the point where I said, you know what, I'm just going to reread the whole thing. And then when I caught up, I'm like, I'm going to wait, another maybe like 10 chapters because that one's quarterly. But I think that's a really good thing to do because it keeps you more engaged. It keeps you more in like the anticipation, like you said. It's like, okay, I know there's one out here, but I'll hang tight.
Yeah, I would say at least for long-running series like One Piece and Berserk, even Hajime no Ippo, the mangaka there, he would take a lot of breaks a few years back, and that just hit his 30th a while ago. 1,300 chapters, pretty intense.
Yeah, I completely agree. With the long-running ones, take your time, man. Your fandom, your whatever the fuck you want to call it, your community, they're going to be there. The real, I don't want to say diehard, but the real fans who appreciate what you do, they're going to be like, hey, dog, we're not going anywhere.
Yeah, so again, very unfortunate that this has happened. And, this is probably the reason why the chapters have been so scarce over the past few years. Or why he's been pushing a lot more chapters, right? Because back when I read it was, 2016, it was at that point, chapters started coming back regularly. There was, I think a 1 or 2 year gap between the last chapter. And so maybe, they were showing promise with the recovery. Like, who knows how long they've known about this condition. We'll just wait and see what Young Animal says in the next statement, I guess, in the magazine. If they're going to publish this chapter or not. Some people are fine with the last chapter that came out, which was the cliffhanger where Guts sees his kid again. People are fine with that. I mean, I'd be okay with that too, because if we get another chapter, unless it depends what the content is of that next chapter. Is it Guts coming to grips with this child, or is it just going to be explaining more stuff to lead up to the next arc?
I will say, and I've said this, a good couple times, it's time for a reread completely, just to give it that old send off. If we don't get any other content, and even if we do, just a good full push of Berserk. I mean, it's just done so much.
I think the original art style is badass. I think I would just reread just for the sake of going back through
100%.
all those traditionals. Yeah, it was just very clear early on through a lot of those early chapters and volumes. He had a very acute sense for like drawing like the double panel scenes, like the entire landscapes. I think I remember watching or reading a meme in like one of the Berserk subreddits where they said like there's usually about maybe 20 in a series, but I think in total he had like over 103 in his series. He's quite literally a guy who sees like the bigger picture of things all the time. and I think that that's a beautiful thing. The story was beautiful. Everything about it was just like so poetic in a way. I think that if we're reaching out to new viewers, it's very important that you like at least know about Berserk, even if you don't like ever consider reading it or watching it. For whatever it's worth, it's like if they could have made Berserk into a book, it would be a bestseller. Even like
100%.
to stop where it's at. Like it would like blow Harry Potter out of the water. Like anything that you can think of, Percy Jackson, like adult series, Twilight, like whatever, like anything that you can think of, Berserk definitely did it better.
Well, you have to remember too, there's like a universal amount of content out there in the world that has taken something from Berserk. That has taken some form of scene or art style or monster or anything like that has
Fucking
definitely been
Miyazaki,
inspired from Berserk. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like even if you don't know what Berserk is, you've probably seen, and I put this on my grandma's grave, dude, you've probably experienced something from Berserk in another form of content. That's 100% guaranteed.
I don't know how many times, I've seen or done something that I just consider be like, oh, you know what, this could totally be a Berserk reference. Like seeing like a giant, like a giant greatsword, it's got any kind of black in the middle. You're like, oh, that's Dragon Slayer right there, or the thousand man killer.
And that's what, like, when this whole thing happened, a few days ago, I started thinking of like, what do I know personally? And what can I pick up a Berserk reference from, And then there was one that I didn't even think about, but I saw on Twitter, and it was like, oh, look at this reference. And it was of Griffith holding the eye, and then he had like the blood moon, behind him. And then the other screen cap was Thanos. And I think it was Infinity War. And I was like, I didn't even think about that, dude. I didn't even think about Marvel like that, dude. I was like, that's crazy. I wouldn't doubt it. I personally wouldn't doubt it. Could it be a stretch? Maybe. But I personally wouldn't doubt that it is a reference.
Oh yeah, big sword equals reference, dude.
The tan tomboy GFs.
Dude, Yoruichi? Fucking Ike and Fire Emblem? The armor is almost identical in both forms, in his younger form and adult form.
What's that game? Was it Dragon's Age? Is that the one? Is that the one I'm thinking of?
Or is
It
it
has some more
Dragon's
details.
Dogma, you mean?
Or is it Dragon's Dogma?
Dragon's Dogma has it.
Dragon's Dogma.
Yeah, it has the
Yeah.
fucking... it has Guts' fucking Band of the Hawk armor suit.
I know there's some stuff in FF14 as well.
It's like Berserk has such a big reach, but it's like a fucking copy from Berserk from Dark Souls 3. The fucking the preachers, they were Mozgus, all of them.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I remember.
Except Mozgus with the fucking like scales at the very end. Man, that fight was cool.
Yeah, I don't think you guys saw the leaks, right, for Elden Ring, but yeah, there's a bunch of Berserk stuff in there.
I wouldn't be surprised, man. I honestly wouldn't. Like it's a universal thing, dude. It really is. Like you could take it from any arc. You really could. You could pick anything from any arc and be like, oh wow, that's crazy. Like let's go to Devilman Crybaby, dude, where Farnese goes into that whole place and experiences what she experienced. Devilman Crybaby right there. R.I.P. man. That's all I gotta say. And it's worth a reread, and if you haven't read it, do yourself a favor. Make yourself better than anybody and read Berserk.
Yeah, don't watch the 2016 anime.
Don't watch it.
No,
just
don't
read
watch it.
But
Yeah,
do,
don't watch
do
it.
watch the movies. The
No,
movies
no.
are on Netflix. They're
The
very
movies are
accessible
great.
to you.
Do not
Yeah.
watch it. Read it.
The gold. Just consume all of the Berserk content you want, but just do it.
Yeah, don't
For yourself.
Don't reject any Berserk. Get it all.
Except 2016.
Except the really bad CG, but we still take it. Play the game, dude. I still need to play the game.
The PlayStation version or the new one?
Yeah, the
The
Musa
new one, the Musa one, the Band of Horses, I think it's called, or Band of something.
Band of the Hawk.
Is that what it's
Band of
called?
Horses, he said.
What am I thinking of, dude?
Man,
This is
you
the
do
guy
need
that
to
has read
reread Berserk.
twice. Jesus
I'm
Christ.
thinking of something, dude. I'm thinking of
Thinking
some
of
fucking...
horse.
No, we're not saying that. I don't know who you're yelling at, Adam, but we're not saying that either.
Read Berserk.
But all right, guys, moving right along. Let's go ahead and get into this podcast, man. We did get an email, and that is unversedpodcast@gmail.com if you have any questions or comments. And this one comes from the boy Mark. Thank you as always. And he says, since there's so much on the internet and it's hard to keep track of things, he likes to organize his stuff on Discord by, a bunch of stuff, Dojin, art, etc. And he says, what sort of organization do you guys do to keep track of series work, manga, shopping, etc.? For me, it's a lot of different things. I use my notepad a lot on my phone. Google Docs and Google Sheets to organize stuff, like to catalog things mainly. And then I have many folders on my hard drive to categorize stuff, like to organize things like that. That way it's just easier to find. And just group things that are similar together, like, with my movies. It's like, okay, here's the anime movies, there's the vidyas, there's the stuff that I gotta hide, all the good stuff.
I personally, I'm not that organized with my personal life. With work, I am. So I just have multiple tabs on my phone open, and then if I forgot and I'm trying to find something up, the tab is like, oh hey, you have this tab open. I'm like, cool. I'm gonna go read Poon Poon again for like the millionth time and be sad.
A perpetual sadness.
Just a lot of bookmarks and the notepad. Kind of write shit down on notepad here, like physically, and then stick it on the computer.
I use Google Keep, so I have a lot of notes from a long time ago, from all different scenarios and experiences in my life. I still go through these notes like pretty consistently just to see like where my headspace is at, my mindset was at the time, seeing if it's still relevant, whatever. But other than that, I'll usually use like physical notepads, kind of like what Gerry has. But I have like tons of them. Like I just kind of borrow them from work, and I just end up keeping a whole bunch of them.
You mean
around
stealing?
for, like,
You mean the
No.
5-finger discount?
I said borrow. Shut up.
It's a 5-finger
You'll
discount,
give it,
bro.
You'll give it back after it's written down, huh?
Dude, I have things written down on my notes, and I look at it, I'm like, what does that even mean? Or I'll have links. I'll have links on my notes. I'm like,
I felt that sometime. One time I found like a name with a bunch of random numbers that wasn't a phone number. And I'm like, oh, all right, this helps a lot. So I just deleted
If I don't have my tinfoil hat on, I'm not gonna remember anything. That's all I'm saying. It gets hard underneath this rock, man.
and then he also asks, what is something you love, but it's too long, and you just want it to end already? Mainly it's like a series that starts to decline, where you're like, oh gosh, just end already so I could stop reading it. Except for, well, because I am caught up to Rent a Girlfriend, and I like that series, but it could have ended, and we're just dragging the plot, so I'm just like, buddy, hurry up.
fucking Berserk. Nah.
I gotta slap the shit out of you. Stop. No.
Yeah, because look, like, as great as Berserk is, there was definitely moments where it was dragging in the last, like, I don't know, 20-ish chapters, past few years, where I was just like, oh, we could pick up the pace just a little bit to get to where we gotta go.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. For me, I might have to think about it for a little bit. Okay. No, hold on. I haven't played them yet. I haven't played all of them yet. But just me playing the first one, I already didn't want all the other expansions that came with it, which was Final Fantasy 13. I feel like that's just there was just too many installments. That's just I don't. For me, playing 13 base game, I could not see any other reason to continue the game on. It's like they wanted to give it the 10 treatment and give it 10-2, which 10-2 worked out in its own way, which is fine. But just to have two other installments of 13, to me, that sounds dumb. Am I going to play them? Yes. But that sounds dumb. Like, that should have stopped at the first game. I didn't like it personally. I thought the story was okay. I felt it was lacking in a lot of areas, especially with the characters. There was only so few that had actual development, while the rest were just kind of like throwaway characters. Which happens in Final Fantasy games. It's fine, but to have more than half the cast be a throwaway character, I'm like, come on, man, what's going on here? We're not playing like Final Fantasy 1 all over again here. With some really nice graphics. So that again, my personal qualm.
I don't know. That is an incredibly hard question. At a series that I liked, I mean, if you could, I was a really big fan of Star Ocean. I remembered when I was a kid, I played the third one for the PS2, and just kind of like how the way the game plays. It's like one of those RPGs where they don't give you like second chances to like talk to NPCs and stuff like that, like to remember where you have to go. Like you either remember or you don't, and then you're just shit out of luck, and then you have to like wander around forever. There wasn't really too many things that I kind of like loved or liked and just wanted to end, unless it like drove me to tears, like out of boredom or something like that. But then I guess I wouldn't like it.
Again, it's just like I said. If it's a series, if it starts to go downhill, no, just end it now, please. Don't drag it. Like Hunter x Hunter, that ended and that was good. He also mentions about Komi-san with the last chapter, and I know you're caught up, Gerry. I don't know if you're caught up, Oscar, but yeah, it's pushing the end, and he had an idea of how it could have been done differently, and I think it makes sense. And I probably would have been okay with it, but at the end of the day, it's called Komi-san for a reason. Majority of fans would have hated the other route for Komi-san if it were to end that way. I base that off of the amount of time that would have been wasted in the manga between, Komi and Tadano, right? That was sort of the main B plot line of the series. Even to the point where it was the main plot for a point of the manga. So I think I'm okay with where it's going, though the way it went there, it's a little questionable. Not to spoil anything for you guys, because the anime is coming out. Right on, that's all you had to say today. Again, thank you for the email. That is unversepodcast@gmail.com. And let's go ahead and get into this episode. There's not a whole lot of stuff that I saw, so we're just going to brush right through it. First things first, again, Resident Evil. We got some news with that. But also, I finished Village as well as you, Adam.
It's a great game, dude. It's really good.
Did you guys get the secret endings?
What do you mean secret endings? There's just one post-credit scene.
Yeah, if you got the post-credit scene, that is the secret. So you got it.
Oh, okay. I was about to turn on the PlayStation and be like, fuck you guys, man. I'm going in. I'm about to speedrun this game. But yeah,
I wouldn't call that a secret ending.
Yeah, I wouldn't either, because I think it's just in the game. Like, I don't think there's any, criteria to meet to get it.
But yeah, man, that back section of Village was fun, wacky, and everything I like in a video game.
Yeah, dude, it's great, man. I like how they stepped out of their element for a little bit, especially with Heisenberg specifically. A lot of the story, at least me personally, I kind of figured out what was going on. There was the name drop that I was not expecting at all, but it was what I wanted for Sin 7. I said it to you guys offline. I was like, I want to know how this ties in. Obviously Village is going to give that to me, but I want to know how. And the way that it tied in, I was like, oh, okay. Now I'm all in. Now I'm back pulled in to the canon of, the primary universe of Resident Evil. And there's a lot of content in this game. The more that I thought about it after I beat it, because I think I sat down, like, just looking at the menu screen for, like, 2 hours. Just like, dude, just thinking about everything. And it's, like, lore-wise, if you have played Resident Evil since it came out, and you're familiar with the lore, you're going to appreciate this game a lot. Specifically for the name drop, because it's going to fill in a gap and then answer more of the questions you may have had, but also present new ones. So it's a really good time. I highly recommend this game to anybody. And even if you're not familiar with the lore, I think you can still enjoy the game for what it is. It's still great. All the scenes are phenomenal. The action is impeccable, for what it is, a survival horror. I think it's just an all-around really, really good game.
Well, survival horror for the most part.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah.
Yeah, as we get to the classic Resident Evil stuff at the end bit there, which is fun. I think, yeah, that's probably my favorite part of the game is like how each section is so different from each other. There's definitely a lot of key points that was great anticipation leading up further and further into the story as we got more answers, the whole plot with Mother Miranda and the twist we got with her. It was definitely one I didn't expect. Well, we expected it once you find the note about what her powers are, but then getting the full reveal of exactly what happened, I was like, oh wow, okay. I thought it was going to be the other way that she used her power. So that's fun. But that did bring me some questions about Ethan's daughter Rose and like her whole situation involving the story. Chris was cool. There was a section that I wanted to talk about last time with him. Not to get into spoilers, but when we meet up with him again by the fourth boss, yeah, I thought he teamed up with somebody, and that's why he was at that location. And I thought it would have made sense because of the dialogue that was popping up prior to that, you know?
Yeah. I could see that.
So there's a lot of cool stuff there. Yeah, it made me think as going through more of it and then getting all the reveals and stuff. Fantastic. And again, like, I don't understand why Capcom said we cannot show Ethan's face, period.
No, dude, I think it's great. I stand by it still.
It's so
so
weird,
funny.
man, because I mean it is. You'll laugh at it because like, oh, look how awkward this camera position is because
Dude,
we can't show his face.
They tried so hard to hide it in those last few scenes, and it was great. I was like, this is so good, man. Like, I was already riding off the high of so many other things, but when I just saw the camera angle, I was like, you're really doing it, Capcom. And it's so good. I love it, man.
It's just so weird. I'm like, and then we get the leaks of his official face, and I'm like, I mean, he looks more disappointing than I thought for sure.
Yep.
Like he's average of average.
Did you look at the concept art?
No, I just saw his model.
Okay, so the concept art is, I think it's pretty close. It's been a while since I saw the model leak, but he doesn't look anything like, he's just a regular dude. It's like if you took Leon Kennedy and like scrapped him down to like a regular Joe Schmo. That's basically Ethan Winters.
The whole picture of him like doing the pose with his watch and like the reconstructed hand, like that was fan made, right? That wasn't like official.
Yeah. That's fan made. Yeah, so when you beat Village, you unlock the concept art for 7 and 8. There's a couple other things you can unlock by in-game currency, which you can get either through beating the game or completion points, which is like, oh, you do this or that. A lot of it could probably be Mercenaries mode, but yeah, there's that as well. But I think you get just the majority of it just by beating the game.
Yeah,
which is it's all really good. There's also the report that you get, which I don't know if you read it yet, Danny, but that's a really good report.
Oh yeah, no, you were telling me earlier, right?
Yeah. I already have some theories on how that can intertwine with the next installment.
I was gonna say, for those who for Beta really quick, I just had a quick question. So like, I just wanted to know for this Resident Evil installment, like the whole like infinite ammo, like infinite guns, like all that other stuff. Is that is that still time limit based?
Yeah, so it's literally just like a rinse and repeat of 4 of what you can get, what you can do, and what you get from there. So like once you beat the game, if you have the completion points to unlock the infinite ammo for the weapon, I think the only requirement needed would be to get all the, what the fuck is it called? Like the buffs for the weapon. So like you have your handgun, like get all the, like max it out completely, and then you can buy infinite ammo for it.
Oh, I see. Like, yeah, you have to get like, okay, yeah, I get you. It's more like 5 then, because I think 4 was like 4. I don't really remember how 4 went. I don't think there was really infinite ammo. They just had like the what you call it.
There was for a few guns, but you had to. I think you had to do something in Mercenaries as well to get it unlocked. I know 5 it was just kind of like, it was kind of like base game, like, oh, if you beat it, then you can get infinite ammo. But yeah, it's pretty much the same as in those two.
Yeah. No, you know what? I believe you're right. I think that the few infinite items you get was doing the awards in certain levels of Mercenaries. You had to like 3 gold star, like whatever. I think for 5 though, like yeah, you just had to beat the game, max out the gun, and then you can use your points like from the BSA emblems and like all that other stuff, and like you can buy that stuff. I think 6, I only played once. I didn't even like bother with the infinite gun because, like, honestly, 6 is like
Trash.
You don't really need that. Yeah, it's like
I mean, 6 is so melee. Like once you like, if you really enjoy 6 for what it is, you're just doing melee with like a few, little bits of bullets. There's not exactly, like there's not that much that you want to do with the bullets because all the melee in there is great. Like I'm not gonna lie, it's really cool. It's very interactive, but you're not spending your time shooting the zombies. You're just punching them in the face and doing crazy moves.
I mean, I think it would have worked like if they haven't. I understand what they were trying to do. They were trying to move away from like tank controls and like tank like operations, but like if they had just like, I guess, really thought out of the box with that, and instead of getting rid of it, it could have like emphasized it only like with your character.
I can see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, like they could have added the sliding, all that other stuff, but it could have like, I don't know, been a little bit more geared towards like Gears of War, but with zombies, and that would have been fine. I think that like something like that with like all the capacity that 6 had would have worked a lot better than what they actually did with it.
I agree, 100%. But we got what we got, unfortunately.
Yeah, man, Village is great. I suggest, if you want more info about the game, pretty much, go to Castle Super Beast and listen to Pat talk more about the game. He brings up stuff that, like, a scrapped version of RE4, and he goes in detail about the stuff from there and how a lot of that is brought over to Village, which gives it more feel to what RE4 is, right? At least from what I hear, since I haven't played that one. And I'm looking forward to whatever the DLC is going to bring in. And hopefully connects and
There's
leads
DLC?
off. Yeah.
I'm ready! Ah! I'm ready, dude.
Yeah, I want to see what the setup is going to be, if there's any loose ends they want to tie up. Because I was telling you guys, it's like there's 2 routes I could see them going with the story for RE9, since it's going to be a continuation of this game. But it really depends on the time frame they want to do it in. As we got the post-credit scene, there is a time skip
key,
with
dude.
that.
It's going to be key.
Could be a lot of places, man. I'm looking forward to that.
I thought you said it's gonna be me.
It's also going to be me, dude. I'm going to be the next DLC, bro. But yeah, play Resident Evil Village. It's a really good game. I really like it. I will continue advocating this game for a very long time because it's so similar to 4, and it's great. I mean, the lore is phenomenal in it. It's just me being a longtime Resident Evil player. I very much appreciated what came out of this game.
Yeah, same here. Again, I'm not well versed in the RE universe, but based on all the stuff I've heard, I'm like, oh, this is a lot of great setup into making sure that 7, 8, and eventually 9 will still make sense overall with the Resident Evil universe. It's good stuff, man.
I'm just wondering what the next spin-off is going to be, if they're going to do a spin-off for it. Because if we look at canon lore, there's a spin-off in between most games.
Maybe a
between
Heisenberg?
2 and... Well, no, it was a spin-off of, like, canonically what's going on at the same time as other things. So, like,
I see what
between...
you mean.
I think in between 2 and 3, we had Code Veronica going on.
Like Ada Wong is another fucking place.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
in this case, it was the other main character from Resident Evil 2.
Yeah, exactly, So I hope that we get something like that, but I really don't know. I mean, if they go in this direction, that's fine, and maybe like a DLC. Because from what I gathered from the report, I could see... It's hinted at who this person could be, like who she's referring to, but I'm not 100% certain. And if it is who I'm thinking of, then we definitely could get a whole, like, another game or like a whole DLC or maybe like a spin-off of, something similar to like Revelations or Revelations 2, where it wasn't very long, like much shorter than base games. There's a lot of directions they can go now, as opposed to after 7. I mean, when I beat it, I'm like, I don't really know where you can go with this. Now I can kind of theorize potential routes that they could decide to go.
Yeah, I mean, there was that cut character. I don't know if you saw that, Adam, for Village.
No, I didn't.
Oh, there's some concept art of her, and it would have been Ada Wong was supposedly supposed to be one of the characters in Village, but she got cut out.
Yeah, bro.
I fucking knew it. I fucking knew it,
that
dude.
she's supposed to be there to like save you during the meeting or something like that.
Okay, well, dude, well, look, you guys have to remember, I'm just going to say this now, because this is going to throw a whole loop in, like, a lot of operations for people if they don't understand. Plagas in Resident Evil 4, which was the virus that was, it's native to Europe, but it is a derivative of the progenitor virus from Africa, which is where the Umbrella Chronicles, Umbrella Corporation got the zombie virus, essentially. It's a root from it. Nobody knows, lore-wise, it's never been said, where the villain of 4 got the virus from. Where somebody was like, hey, bro, you should investigate, this fucking fossil, and, like, it'll change your life. Nobody said that. So, with us being in Europe currently, I'm like, come on, man. There's so many routes. Like, on top of already the ending that we get with Village, especially with the post-credit scene, and just the content that we get with the Chris scene that you're talking about, Danny, like there's so many routes to go. It's unbelievable. I don't want to take up too much time talking about it because I want Julian to be here because I know he also knows the lore like I do. So I'm patiently waiting.
More details for the Ada Wong thing is, I guess in one of the DLCs was a concept art book called The Tragedy of Ethan Winters, and in it there's Ada Wong in a plague doctor outfit with a crossbow. And the initial idea was she was going to be there and save Ethan in certain scenarios because she was there to investigate the village itself, but it was cut due to a number of conflicting scenarios.
I can probably figure out what those scenarios are. I'm not going to get into it. This is not the place and time to get into it, but that's really cool. I didn't know that because I wanted to go into this as vanilla as possible. And I'm very glad, and it took me 2 weeks to play it because I was out on the road. I did not get spoiled about anything, so I'm really, really, I'm really thankful that I got to have that vanilla experience.
Oh, and I guess there isn't any announced DLC. What I was looking at was the DLC you get from the deluxe edition.
Oh, like the Wesker's gun and like shit like that.
Yeah, the trauma pack.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope there's DLC though. We could get some stuff in there.
I could throw a crazy theory out as to why we got Wesker's gun in here, but this for another time.
I would like a DLC where we dive more into the bosses of the game.
Oh, the Four Lords?
Yeah, as cool as they are, there was somewhere I'm like, man, we could have got more time.
This is just the Dark Souls game, dude.
Oh, yeah.
I promise you, Danny, I promise you, we're going to get files throughout the next, 2 games about these lords. If not the next one. Just about them. But the way Resident Evil lore goes is it sprinkles it throughout every single game. It just touches on it just a little bit. Like when Chris mentioned who created the BSAA, there's only 3 people we know that made it out of the 11 that he stated. There's only 3 people we know. There's 8 other people we have no idea who they are. But it's been sprinkled. Because the first one, you're like, oh, we know it's this person. The second one's like, oh, it has to be that. The third one, you get told that it is that person in Revelations. And it's like, well, who are the rest? So we got a long time coming to come back to the lore. And they always do a great job of doing that.
Well, while we wait for that news for RE Village and the future of the series, there is still more news for Resident Evil. We got the trailer for Infinite Darkness.
It's so good.
That's the CG show, which Netflix calls an anime, which I thought was funny.
It's so good. Dude, that shit had me... how you... Never mind. Keep going.
Yeah, I'm like, how you gonna call that an anime? Those are clearly video game cutscenes. It was funny. But yeah, so we got the trailer for the series, and I don't know much, but it looks like it'll be a fun time.
I think it'll be great, dude. I'm just still waiting to see what Ashley looks like. If she's going to be in there. I mean, she has to. Either she turns into a zombie or she's just dead for some reason or she's gone somewhere. I just want something with Ashley because that's how we got here. Right? That's how Leon got the position he got. He brought the daughter back. So that's really what I want to know. Everything else can come secondary.
He was dead in 6. so I only assume that she died. You know, that's kind of what I was saying off screen last time.
We can only assume, man. But Resident Evil loves to bring people back from the dead. No pun intended.
If she is anywhere near or as badass as Sherry was, I'm not gonna be impressed. Like, I'm not. I'm gonna be the opposite, and I'm gonna be like, this is kind of shit. Like, I'm not gonna expect you to believe that I just carried your ass like across like basically all of like bumfuck Europe, just so that way you can just become this like, you know, zombie kicking like badass like Sherry did. Like Sherry's special, but Ashley's not special, so she doesn't deserve it.
We'll find out, man. We will definitely find out. But I'm with you. I stand by you on that, dude. Because if you can remember, and I was just reminded of this the other day, there is a glitch, which I didn't know was a glitch because I figured out a method to like having it happen, where if you, when you're controlling Ashley, and there's an enemy right behind the door, and you open the door and you do the action to melee them, you can actually suplex them. But there is a method to have that trigger, you know, instantaneously. So yeah, dude, if they're gonna make her no brains bitch, then you know, that is what it is, and it's unfortunate. But you know, I would like her to have a little bit more oomph in this if she does make an appearance.
So as a reminder, this show is canon to the games, and it is set a few years after RE4.
Yeah, so there's some theories I have, but I think it looks great regardless.
Yeah.
You know, whatever they decide to do with the story, I can only hope it's going to be good. But at the end of the day, it does look really good. I'm about to hit the whiteboard with this one, man.
Yeah, I beat Up Your Arsenal for Ratchet and Clank. That's the third game. Ends the trilogy on the PS2. And great game. Fantastic final boss. I've complained about the previous two.
So you beat it in one go?
It took me, I think 2 tries. Well, 2.5 if you count the first time. I went in on accident because I didn't buy ammo. So that was a wipe run. But yeah, Dr. Nefarious was a fantastic final boss. He had a bunch of cool movesets and things kept popping up. It was great. It didn't feel like he was too heavy with the bullet sponge idea, right? Like in the first 2 bosses. Like they were just sponges for no reason. Yeah, I was thinking too after beating, I was like, oh, well, you know what? Like the first game, the final boss is just a giant robot you fight. And then the second game is just this giant furball creature you fight. So that's not like you could do a whole lot of stuff. Like the main struggle for those fights was them taking all the damage and the ads that are running around that they keep spawning in. But here with Nefarious, you know, he has a silhouette. He can do some stuff, and it was great. And, you know, this is where they're trying to build up a real story. And I thought it was all okay. You know, there's some good moments in there. A bunch of fun stuff. Again, the writing's fantastic, and it sounds like everyone's having a good time with the voice cast. And surprisingly, you don't have to grind a whole lot in the game to get all the good stuff. I was just doing stuff off stream to collect bolts so I could buy the guns because, you know, they do get pricey the further you go. And I got to the final fight, and I was max level. I was surprised. I thought like I would have had to grind more or something, you know, to get to 100 HP. You know, I think they did take notes from the previous 2 games, and yeah, maybe it's something to do with Ratchet himself as a character, because the way they use the guns, and you know, they do level up, and you feel a lot stronger than you do in the end of the first and second game. The way I could see it story-wise would be like, well, at this point, Ratchet is a well-known fighter. You know, he actually has ranking in the galactic force, or I forget the term that they use. And so maybe that's there. You know, he's slowly gaining that experience, so he's getting better with the gunplay, so that's why it feels better in these games moving forward. One mechanic that they have in the game, it's called strafe, and what that means is you hold L2, and you can move side to side while you're still shooting. It puts you in a locked position, so if you back, you don't turn around, you just walk backwards so you can still shoot. And that's something I never really used in the other games, but this one, with how crazy it can get with the ads, it's telling you like, hey, you should probably start doing this method. And I was like, okay, let me try it out. And I was like, oh, this is, not only is this easy, but it's comfortable to use, and you could get used to it pretty quick. So I was like, oh, that's great. Overall, yeah, fantastic way to end that trilogy on the PS2, and a solid game overall. And then I played the 4th game, the last one on the PS2, which is Deadlock. I've heard good things about this one, and that's a fun time as well. There's a point where I'm just like, oh, this is just Ratchet's just wearing the Doom Guy armor, and he's just running and gunning a bunch of people. This is great.
Hell yeah.
I remember playing that one, and then it's just like you're basically just doing a bunch of like trials, Coliseum.
Yeah, so they said, let's focus on the action. Let's make him look badass with this armor. And so there's no like puzzles or platforms or anything. You're just hopping in, running and gunning. And it's limited with the weapons. There's only, I think there's 11 overall. And they all more or less feel the same like the other guns. But the designs are different. So at least they could keep it a little refreshing there. But the best thing they did in this game, and I hope it's in the rest, is they added mods. So you could add attributes and elements to your weapons, and then, to help change up the gameplay. And that was pretty good, man. The story, I thought, was... It's funny. Like, you could tell it's sort of like a spin-off, quote-unquote, not part of the main line of the series, as Ratchet gets captured by the owner of this Coliseum that's out in space. And the reason he captured Ratchet is because he needs a new way to sell all the merch he made for the current #1 champion, and no one's buying it, so he has all these boxes in his office. He's like, I need to sell this merch. How am I going to do it? Oh, let's try to make him more likable by having Ratchet come in here, and then we'll just trash him the whole time. But of course that backfires because, Ratchet's so cool. Even though it all plays the same, it was a little weird to hop in here because you don't have Clank anymore, as he's on the intercoms, so you don't have like certain things that you could do with Clank, and then you're always strafing, so you don't have to worry about that. And they added the shooting button for R1 like a normal shooter, because the way you have to move around, right, you have to move the camera and all that. It's like you can't just tap circle and take your thumb off the analog. And I'm like, okay, let me try what we know. And I'm like, oh, this is comfortable, and it looks and feels great. But what's funny about this port on the PS3 is that, boy, for some reason the cutscenes just don't want to work. It took a while to notice, but every now and then I looked, I'm like, what's going on? Like every 2 seconds all the models just shift, like just a slight couple degrees, and they just keep twitching. It was so weird. And it's like, I get it, it can look janky sometimes because the way like the eyelids can clip through the eyes and the eyebrows and all that stuff, but just to see them constantly shake every now and then was funny to me. Yeah, it was a good time. I only wish I played this a lot sooner, like when it came out, because there is multiplayer. And, I doubt the servers are open, and even if they are, who knows who's playing that. And now I'll be moving on to the first spin-off game, not made by Insomniac. What was it? Size Matters. That was on the PSP, so I'll be streaming
and
that.
You know what, fellas? It really does.
Yeah, man, you don't want tight shoes.
You want to make sure the socks fit in the shoe.
Yes, so that'll be the next game I'll be streaming. I'm interested because it's not by Insomniac, it's a different studio. So that means, it's a different team writing the characters. And I've heard mixed things about this game, so I'm interested to take a peek at that. I'll be streaming that at twitch.tv/Negator7. And then other news, Warner Brothers announced they're doing a animated Injustice movie.
That shit's gonna be flame, dude. Good shit, dude. Because they do really good stuff with their animated films. Like, it's always been great. I don't think I've seen one bad animated Warner Brothers film.
Yeah, man, I'm hyped. All the DC movies have been pretty good so far. From what I've heard from the Injustice storyline, it sounds pretty cool. I know there's the 2 games and there's the comic, and there's just so much to cover. So I'm looking forward to this movie.
It is a badass series. I think that just with that in general, that is definitely going to pique a lot of people's interests. Just to see like what it would be like for Superman to go evil, or crazy, or whatever they want to call it. Yeah, I played both games. I did see like a couple covers of the issues that they had, but never really read them. More or less in the latest one, they had like the latest game, Injustice 2. they had a lot of like really cool characters that they introduced for DLC. Like I know that they put like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and it's like technically canon because I think the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was introduced into the DC universe from Batman series. Like they did like the crossover. You know, if they really wanted to, like they could take it pretty far, man, and just get all kinds of crazy with it. Like just like for the sake of, you know, lunacy, or just to, you know, honor a throwback. You know, bring in titles for future projects. You know, it's very expansive. You know, and then I think that if they try to incorporate like a cinematic universe like back into the game, you know, like if it'll be like the next plot for Injustice 3, that's definitely gonna like be a slap right there. Like people are gonna be all in on that shit, dude, because it's definitely intense.
Heck yeah, man. So if I had to guess, it might be just the first game for the story, because that's kind of really the jumping point for
Kind
the
of set
series,
the pace.
right?
Yeah. I mean, there's just already a lot of heroes and villains in there, so there's a lot to play around with.
Yeah, and you know, one thing the DC movies are good at is heroes fighting each other and kicking ass. I mean, come on, Flashpoint, where Wonder Woman and Aquaman were just throwing hands.
That's always one that comes to mind, man. It's just so good. It's and that's what I mean, dude. Like, I don't think they will do a poor job at this. Like, I think it's going to be pretty solid. So I'm very hyped. I think this is going to be a really good time. I just hope it receives well, and it'll definitely boost sales for the game, even though it's pretty old. But I hope this incurs like a third one.
Oh, I'm sure 3 is happening for sure. Was it MK11 still out? One thing I'm curious for is what the art style is going to be, because they're branching away from what they've been doing with like the animated universe they did. So they're going. There's a couple of different art styles they're using right now. So I wonder what it's going to be. If it's going to be similar to the comics, or they just want to do their own thing. I forgot to write it down, but there is one other DC animated news, and that is they're doing a Super Pets movie. And of course, that's starring Crypto the Superdog, who is going to be voiced by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
So that was real?
This man cannot be stopped. I was going to say something else, but it's not the right time. I'll say it offline. But that's pretty cool, man.
Did they get any other news on it?
Nope, we just know the Rock's going to be in it. Yeah, I mean, I don't really know a lot. Like, how many Super Pets are there? I know there's Crypto the Superdog.
There's a lizard.
Oh, what's his name? It's something.
Like, are you talking about that old like?
Yeah, you remember the cartoon?
Yeah, it was like a DC cartoon, and like Crypto was like a white dog.
On the WB?
With that
That's
orange
what I
tabby
remember.
cat, like his best friend.
Yeah, the Flash Cat. Yeah, and then there was I forget his name, but it's something the Bat Hound. Yeah, which I mean, we've seen the Bat Hound in the comics.
Oh, I'm sorry. It wasn't on the WB. It was on Cartoon Network.
Yeah, Crypto Super Friends.
It was Streaky the Super Cat and Ace the Bat Hound.
Ace the Bat Hound.
Those are the ones.
That's right.
There you go.
Oh yeah, there was that female dog
Wait,
too.
is that
That's
canon?
right.
What was the dog's? What was in Batman Beyond?
Yeah, these pets are canon.
Batman's Beyond.
Yeah.
That was
Hell yeah, dog! All this shit.
The dog he had in Batman Beyond, wasn't it? Ace.
Yes. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
But, okay,
yeah,
well,
Ace.
hold on.
And then there's Mammoth Mutt, Bulldog, Paw Pooch, Tail Terrier, Tusky Husky. Damn, dude. And then there's
What the fuck is this,
And
Paw
then
Patrol,
there's
dude?
Hot Dog.
I remember that guy. I remember the glizzy dog, dude.
Waddles the Penguin, Stretcho Mutt, Robbie the Robin, Mechanicat, Snooky
Okay.
Wookoos.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just looking at all the
What did you
characters.
say
It's gonna be a rated G movie, I'm guessing, right? I'm assuming.
Probably. Yeah, it's just a fun time that they're gonna do. Because they.
I mean, they wouldn't put me in an R-rated movie. Come on.
God, dude.
Honestly, I'm down. I mean, like, yeah, with all the shit that we were just talking about, it kind of brings back good memories. You know, I wouldn't mind.
It's all anticipation for what they're going to reveal at the DC Fandom. They're bringing that back. I think it's September, October. And, you know, The Rock, I think he's a good fit for Crypto. He has that charisma. So that's going to wrap us up today, guys. New BFM just dropped. It's about the good old movie, The Secret Life of Walter Mitty.
Hey, yo, get outside, bro.
Yep.
Listen to the episode, watch the movie, and go outside.
Yes. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I feel like rewatching it. Especially after watching the 47 version.
It's a really nice palate cleanser to watch the 47 and then watch the Ben Stiller one. That's kind of how I felt last night when Gerry and I watched the Ben Stiller one. I was like, it's nice.
Right on. So all that will be happening, and you can get the updates of when those episodes drop over at Unverse Podcast anywhere on social media. Yeah, I'll be streaming more Ratchet and Clank until Rift Apart comes out, pretty much. And then again, that's twitch.tv/Negator7. Gerry, I know he's doing stuff.
Yeah, I'm playing video games. I'm dying. I'll probably start Silent Hill 2 once or one of these are done. But yeah, just catch it at twitch.tv/Gerry.
And remember, he just hit affiliate, so give him the sub. Gift a sub to the chat. Type a pog in the.
Dude, give me the respect. Give me the respect and say Gerry with the G. Dude.
And type a fucking pog in the chat when you pop in too, man. Just give him the good old pog.
Yeah, and go peep that fresh emote as well.
And when I get back to streaming, it'll definitely be some more Returnal, probably some mercenaries from Resident Evil 8, probably my New Game Plus of Village as well. I think I just want to keep palate cleansing myself till I go back into Kingdom Hearts, which will probably be on a PC run as opposed to the PS5 run.
Grant, he's doing some late night streams every now and then when he has the time. He's going through Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I think he's doing the DLC right now for that because that just dropped, I think. And he is at twitch.tv/Calamity760. Yeah, we're all big gamers. That's right.
Pro gamer hours, dude. We rise up in 2021, as Julian likes to say.
We rise, we grind. Right on, guys. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you on the next episode.